was the first time they gave it a name. First year, Matt and I, my co-founder till today, we started our first business together because we just had that itch to do something, to change something. We wanted to build a business that was high impact. We wanted to dedicate our lives to something and we didn't know what that was. And Matt had the chance to go to Israel, came back, and he just couldn't stop talking about what they were doing in agriculture, where you got this country that's on a desert and they're just pumping, agriculture-wise. I wasn't interested, I'm not gonna lie to you. Agriculture looks boring, it looks brown, it looks like old people. It's just not very, exciting, but I'm a numbers guy. Close to 70% of all the remaining arable land in the world is in Africa. Close to 70% of everybody on this continent is dependent on agriculture for survival. But then we are net importers. We knew something was wrong. So we offered to work for some farmers for free. And the idea was to be a fly on the wall. We had this farmer, Daniel, he would sell his spinach to the fresh produce market, and that spinach would be bought for 3.50 Rand at the market, and it would be sold for 10 Rand. We were like, how is this normal? They were like, it's how it is. That was the spark of the idea for Kula, to say, can't we get Daniel to supply straight? Here's a tool, everything you need. So if you need fertilizer, if you need an expert, if you need a water test, anything you need, it's like a superpower in their hand where they've got everything that they need. And from the market side, you can now supply a big retailer without needing a connection. The benefit of App of the Year, I don't think I can capture it enough. For a startup that is where we were, what you want is to get in the room because nobody wants to listen to you. We closed with ACI, one of the biggest agrochemical companies on the continent. Nothing changed from a business perspective per se. We're doing the same stuff, but now we're in the room. And for me, if I had to define the value of App of the Year, it was that. From my own life trajectory, Kula and business in general has changed my life. A couple of years ago, 2 years ago, I built a house for my mom. That was one of my biggest goals in life, to say one day I want this lady to have the best possible house, not just extending or anything like that. What's inspired me is how people have looked at my life from where I come from. And they go and they say, hey, this guy lived there, in that shack there. Surely I've got a chance.
All right, so that was an inspiring video from Kula that can motivate all of you guys as you begin on this beautiful app developing journey. Now, please do remain connected and active on our social media platforms, hashtag FNB Academy. You guys can stand a chance to win some awesome prizes throughout the next 9 weeks. And also, who knows, you guys can stand a chance to win also an App of the Year merch too. All right, so speaking about social media, let's take a look at what you guys have been up to for the last couple of weeks.
I am impressed by Academy's commitment to nurturing talented individuals and training them with the skill to create impactful technological solutions.
I joined this program to learn new skills and explore app development, while also seeing how I can apply some technology in different fields.
Through App Academy, I hope to gain the knowledge, skills, and network necessary to bring my ideas to life.
I would like to take this opportunity and thank FNB for being so kind in us that even if you didn't complete your diploma, but you still got a chance to study online.
Wow, that's always beautiful to see you guys being interactive on social media, letting us know what all these lessons are inspiring you guys as you put those lessons into practice. Please do remain committed to social media. You guys can stand a chance to win some awesome prizes. All right, so now it's time for the lesson. And right now we have our amazing facilitator in studio with us, Noluthando. Welcome everybody, and I'm back here with Noluthando. She's the head of support at IT Varsity. Noluthando, welcome back.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good, thanks. And
Thank you so much for being here yet again. It's always amazing to have you back. Let's talk a little bit now about your journey now in IT and coding. How did that all begin?
Okay, so it was year 2020. I think it was the beginning of COVID. I live in one of the townships in Durban. I don't want to say underprivileged, but it's really bad. So luckily for us, we've got this center. I think it's owned by Copt Trust. They introduced us to these learnerships. I think it was the era of learnerships where they were evolving because of COVID. So they told us we're going to be learning, they didn't say coding, they said IT. So I was like, okay, because I've never studied IT, and I mean, with me, nothing is impossible. So I was like, I signed up for the program. And then we did like an orientation with the IT varsity team. And then we were told, okay, you need to have a laptop. And at that time, I did not even own a laptop. Luckily, it was sponsored by one of the government's organization. So I got into IT like that through a learnership sponsored by Facet CETA. And then we were going to be studying online at IT varsity. So it was like quite challenging, but I was excited because, I mean, I've watched a lot of movies. I'm a movie person. I've seen coding on computers, blah, blah, blah. All those stuff. I was like, okay, I want to do this. Yeah.
Beautiful way of your story in terms of you starting on that journey in IT. Just like the FNB App Academy is that perfect place to get you started on your app developing journey. Now, Noltan will be taking us through GitHub and collaboration. Are you ready?
I am ready. Are you ready?
Of course they're ready.
Yes, yes.
Have fun and all the best, yeah?
Thank you so much.
Awesome.
All right, so today our lesson is about GitHub and collaboration. Again, something new. You've probably seen it on your course on the LMS, but I'll explain it further so that you guys know and understand before you even start using GitHub. So what I'll do is I'll walk you through, I'll explain it, just the basics of GitHub. What is GitHub? What is collaboration? What is version control? And then I'll demonstrate it. I'll do like a demo video for you. All right. What is GitHub? GitHub is a web-based platform that is used to manage coding projects. Think of GitHub like a file sharing service for code to help development teams collaborate on projects. GitHub works by hosting your code base on their server, on what we call a repository. A repository is a directory or folder where all your projects live on GitHub. All your programs, data, logic, and all your files related to your application are hosted on your repository. Why GitHub? Why are we going to be using GitHub? Well, why does GitHub matter? 1, for version control. GitHub allows you to undo history for code, but for teams. Collaboration. Some may say GitHub is the Google Docs of coding. Multiple people edit simultaneously without causing any chaos. It's not just for coding. It can be used for documentation, backtracking issues, and automation, which is GitHub Actions for testing and deployment. So these are the 3 benefits or why we prefer using GitHub. You can build an app with a team, and I know you asking, how do 5 people collaborate on one app? I'll show you. So let's talk about version control and collaboration on GitHub. Version control allows you to keep track of all the changes you or your team has made to your project. If you have made a mistake or would like to go back to the previous version of your code, you can do that easily with just a click of a button. Remember that undo history? GitHub keeps an online backup. It's easy to revert to an earlier version of your project or specific file, which allows you to see all changes made. GitHub makes it easy for teams to work on the same project. So let's say we're building an app for Spa, and we have people from Polokwane, people from Botswana, people outside of South Africa. They can use GitHub to collaborate on one project. Teams around the world can have access to the same code base and can see updates instantly as others make change. So if maybe your team member from, let's say, Botswana made a change, you'll be able to see what changes they have made. And then we have what we call GitHub branches. Question: how can 5 people from all around the world edit or work on the same code base without causing any chaos or to the original file. So this is when, or this is how branches, GitHub branches works. All right. So branches allow developers to work on different parts of the same project without affecting other team members or the main code base. You can then spin out what we call a branch, which is a copy of the code base that other developers can use to develop other sections of the app. Once you are happy with all the contribution that has been made to that specific branch, you can then merge the branch into the main application. So in simple terms, what they're saying, if you are creating an app, let's say for FNB, and I have 5 people from different countries working on the same app, I will then create a branch of that, a copy of that app. Now we will first work on we'll do the editing, the updates, the changes on the branch, which is the copy of your code base. Once we are happy the app is running, all team members are satisfied, all changes have been made. Now we are going to merge the branch into the main code base. The branch, which is like the copy, the copy of your code base. Now we're going to merge it to the main. So without affecting the main code base, without causing any chaos to the main code base, we create a branch. All right. So Git versus GitHub. You've heard about Git and GitHub. So Git is the local version that runs on your machine or your local computer. Git is a free open source version tool that developers install locally on their personal computers. And then we have GitHub. GitHub is used for cloud hosting, for Git repos, and collaboration tools. Some may say GitHub is a pay-for-use online service built to run Git in the cloud. So Git is like email, which is the protocol. GitHub is like the Gmail, which is the hosted service. So GitHub runs online and Git runs on your computer, on your local computer. All right, so these are the important key terms, crash course. Make sure that you are noting this down. These are terms that you will see, terms that you need to remember, and all important as to why we are going to be using GitHub for the entire program. So first we talk about a repository. You'll hear some will say a repo. A repo is a project folder tracked by Git. It is where your project files and history live. All right. Think of it as a folder for your project that is either public, open to everyone, or private. So you have an option to set your project public, open to everyone, meaning no Tando from South Africa can also have access to your project, or you can set it private. And then commit. Commit is a saved change, like a checkpoint in a game. You write a short message explaining what you changed, and GitHub stores that version. So remember, we talked about collaboration. So if I make changes to the styling of the app, before I do any, I save the changes, I commit changes, I will write, I've just made a change to the color of the header, and then I save, you commit. Instead of saying say, we say commit to changes. And then we have what we call branch. Parallel timeline for experiments. Example, your feature and your logins. I will show you. The default branch is usually called main or master. So the original code base is the main or master, and then remember I said we then create a branch, which I usually say it's a copy of the main code base. And then we have what we called pull requests, PR in short. Asking to merge changes plus review code. You create a pull request once you're done working on a branch to propose your changes. Others can review and comment before merging it into the main branch. So if you've done any changes, right, you then, if you are collaborating with a team, Remember, we said we're going to create a branch. We're going to be working on the branch, the code base of the branch, not on the main or on the master code base. So let's say you've made a change. Like I said, I've changed the styling of the header. I then create a PR, a pull request, once I am done, to propose the changes. Remember, as a team, we all need to agree. If I choose pink, the other team member wants blue. So I first need to propose the changes, and then my team needs to review the changes that I've made, comment if there's any comments, people, maybe they'll say, okay, instead of using pink, you can use purple. And then after we've all agreed, we can commit the changes, we can save, and then we can merge into the main branch. So merge is combining branches. Example, your feature to your main. We have your branch. You can have 3 branches. You can have branch 1, branch, depending on how you name them. Branch 1, branch 2, branch 3. Work on, maybe you're working on different file names. Once those 3 branches have been completed, you can merge all 3 into the main code base. So when we say merge, we are combining the branches to the main or the master code base. Clone. Cloning is downloading a GitHub repository to your computer. So if you have set your repository to public, meaning Noltando from South Africa or Botswana or Limpopo can access it as well, I am able to clone a repository, which means I'm downloading a copy of your repository. And then we have fork. Create your own copy of someone else's project so you can work on it independently. So here you are using somebody else's work, right, so that you can also work on it, but independently. If I know I've done this before, I have access to other projects that people have done, and sometimes I would just change styling, because when it comes to coding, I am more on the styling side. I've worked with teams before, I prefer styling. So I'd change the CSS, of the project, or whatever file they've created. I usually play around. So when I was still studying, I would play around with other people's files. So that is what fork means. So you create your own copy of someone else's project, and then you work on it independently. And then a readme.md file, so you'll see this more often on GitHub, introduces your project and explains how to use it. This is important for users and collaborators. I created a superhero app, right? I uploaded on GitHub. My repository is public to everyone. I then create a README file that explains what the app is used for, like a description of the app. This is an app that explains all the superheroes, etc., etc., etc. So a README file, so whenever you create a project or you upload a project, you can just write like a description of, if you're setting it to public though, how the app works, what is it used for, just a brief description of the app. All right, so we have come to the end of the GitHub lesson. Now I will demonstrate and show you how to upload your project on GitHub. But first, you need to have a GitHub account, right? How to create a GitHub account, the lessons have been put online. On your student portal, there is a video on how to create a GitHub account. But you can just easily go to your internet browser and just type github.com and create a new account. Now, because I already have an account, I'll just show you, and I've already created a few apps, right? So I'm not going to start from scratch coding a new app. I've already created an app, right? It's already working. I already have a GitHub account, so you need to make sure that you have a GitHub account. If you don't have one, sign up for a new GitHub account and make sure that you save your username and your password as well. So I'm going to take you to GitHub, and I'm going to show you how to upload, how branches work, how to merge into the main or the master code base, how if you want to make edit or changes, is it visible for other people or other team members that you are collaborating with. All right, let me take you through it. So you've created an account, you have a GitHub account. If you don't have a GitHub account, make sure that you create one on github.com. Like I said before, I have already created an app, so I'll just take you through the process of uploading your project to GitHub. Right, so I have signed in on GitHub, This is how GitHub looks like on your desktop. I will also show you how it looks like on the browser. So here you have File, Edit, View, Repository, Branch, and Help. So now, because I am creating a new repository, I will click on Create a New Repository on your local drive. So I'll click here, and then I'll create a repository name. So you can type in any name for your app. All right. So I'll do this. My e-commerce store. Right, and then it tells you will be created as my e-commerce store. And then description. All right. I'll just type, this is my first FNB App 2025 project. It can be anything. Also, it's optional to write a description. So my e-commerce name is my e-commerce store. Description, this is my first FNB App 2025 project. Local path, you choose a local path. If you have, mine is under my documents. And then you going to ignore this, and then it will tell you the repository will be created at, and then you'll see the link here. And then I will click on Create Repository. Right, still loading. So you create a repository once you are done with creating your first app. So it doesn't mean because you created a GitHub account through the FNB App Academy, you'll only be able to access your GitHub account within the 9 weeks of learning. No, even once the program is over, make sure every app that you create, you upload it to GitHub. Even if your laptop gets stolen, gets broken, if you remember your username and password, you can easily access GitHub on either somebody else's laptop, family, any person that you trust, and you are able to download your app. So GitHub stores everything for you. It stays safe. All right. So I've created the app. Sorry, I've created the repository. And then it tells you here, no local changes. There are no uncommitted changes in this. Remember the word commit. There are no uncommitted changes in this repository. Here are some friendly suggestions for what to do next. Tells you now, publish your repository to GitHub. GitHub, remember we spoke, what is GitHub? It's online on your browser. This repository is currently only available on your local machine, which is Git. Now, when we publish, it's going to upload to GitHub. All right. By publishing it on GitHub, you can share it and collaborate with others. So I'm going to click on Publish Repository. Right. Just to confirm the name and description. And then if you want to keep it private, you can keep it private. And then you click on Publish Repository. Okay, it's still loading here. All right, so after I'm done publishing my repository, right, I'm going to go to GitHub now, because remember, before you publish, it's only visible on Git on your desktop app. Once you publish, it will also now be visible to GitHub on your browser. All right, so if you look at the top here under File, Edit, View, current repository, my e-commerce store. Now, we are going to go to the browser just to check whether we can see any changes that are made here. All right. So I've accessed the browser, I've logged in. So I'm going to click on my repositories, right? Do I need to also create the file that I've created on Git? No. Why? Because any changes or anything that you publish on Git automatically becomes changed as well on GitHub. So you'll see here, these are all the repositories, right, under my account. Here's the e-commerce store, my e-commerce store. This is my first FNB App 2025 project. All right, so whatever changes now I make on Git, I'll also be able to see the changes on GitHub as well. Now, let me go to my workspace on my documents. All right. So you will see my e-commerce store, right? GitHub already created a folder. I did not create any folder. GitHub already created a folder for me. And when I open that folder, you will see it has Git attributes. Now, remember I said I've already created an app, which means you have also by now created an app. And now you want to upload your first app onto GitHub. So I'm going to go to my app that I've created. These are the files under my app. I'm just going to take these. And then here are my files now. Let's see whether these files have been uploaded on Git. All right. So now you will see, let's go back here under current repository, my e-commerce store. Here are all the changes. So you see now the about.html has been uploaded, context.html, the images folder with all the images inside, right? And then we have, you just want to make sure that all files are here. Double checking now, index.html, kinglicious.html, all the files I can see, the style.css is also here. So let me just open the index, and then one thing about Git and GitHub is you are also able to see the coding, right? So this is the coding for my app. Now remember I spoke about any changes we make on Git must be visible also on GitHub. Remember, you first need to publish, save, then changes will also be visible here. So let's go back to Git. All right. And then I'll publish here, fetching origin. Then it tells you refreshing repository and then last fetch. Now, sorry, if you look at under changes, all the files that are here, there's a summary here that I need to write on the files that you've just uploaded under this repository. So I will just write, this is an e-commerce. This is an e-commerce store I created. Remember, it can be anything, right? I created for the App Academy 2025. And then description, which is optional, and then I will click on commit to main, which will be the master or the main code base for the project. Okay, committing to main. All right, and then it tells you there are no uncommitted changes in this repository. Here are some friendly suggestions what to do next. So every time you make any changes, you're committing, you adding, you editing, you making a change in your coding, make sure you always publish or push origin. So now it tells us push or commits to the origin remote. You have one local commit waiting to be pushed to GitHub. Then you click on push origin. So after uploading the files, you write a summary, right? And then a description. And then you commit to main, and then you publish or push to origin so that it can also be visible on GitHub. Now let's check, and hopefully it's there on GitHub. Let's go to GitHub. And then we are going to refresh our screen. All right, so now I can see the files. So here you see my e-commerce store. This is an e-commerce store I created for the App Academy 2025. That's the description that I made on Git. And then here are my files with the description. So you can see here are the files. This is an e-commerce store, the description that I made, initial commit Git that created for me, and then when 1 minute ago, 9 minutes ago, it tells you everything. Okay, So we're going to make a slight change on the coding of the app and see whether Git will recognize that change or GitHub. Right. So I'm going to go back to my files where I have, the app. And then I am going to access index. So I'm going to click on my index file, and then I'm going to open this on VS Code, which is the text or coding editor I use. So this is my index.html file. So if you look at line 19 here, it says ahref is equals to context.html, and then it says contact us. So I'll just make a change here and click and just say contact, and I removed us. Once you've made a change to your coding, make sure that you save changes. Remember, everything we do, we save. So I'm going to save this. And then we are going to save. And then we're going to go back to Git. And then changes. Now it'll tell you changes 1. You'll see that a change has been made. So where? It tells you the index. So it means my team member can also see if there are any changes being made. So you're going to click on the index.html file, and then you will see here there's highlighted in red and in green. So the red shows you the previous version of the code. Green shows you the current version, which was changed to. So it was before it said contact us, but now it just says contact. Right. So this is the change that has been made. Remember, everything we do on Git needs to be visible as well on GitHub. But before that, remember what we need to do. We need to commit to main, and we need to publish repository. So here on description, it's already here, updates index.html, and then I click on commit to main. Right? Same thing, it tells you have one local commit waiting to be published to GitHub. So I'm going to push origin, which is commit changes. I'm pushing this origin now. And then I need to make sure that the changes I have made are also visible to GitHub. So I'm going to go back on GitHub on my browser and check whether this change is visible there as well. So I'm just going to refresh my browser. All right. So we're going to look for the index.html file. Here's the index, and then it tells you an update was made. Update index.html. All right. When? 1 minute ago. So this is why we're using GitHub. It's easy to track. It's easy to monitor changes. I'll show you how to undo the changes I have made as well. So any changes you make, any team members, if they make a change on style.css, on any file, everybody can see the changes that are being made. All right? And then you can just click also here on index.html. You're able to see the coding, and then it will show you now it is contact. All right? So now let's go back and undo the change. So I'm going to go back to Visual Studio Code, which is my coding editor. All right. And then I'm bringing it back to contact us. All right. Because we want to make it easy for people to understand. So I was just showing you, like, you can make a change either if you're making a change, if you as a team has sat down and said, no, we don't like the styling. You delegate the task maybe to 2 members or 1 member. they make changes and they say, if you're not happy, you can undo the change. So, but you need to make sure that your app is user-friendly and people are, it's easy for people to navigate through the app or through the website. So I'm bringing it back to contact us. Remember, we save. You make a change, you save. Can click on Control S or click on Save. And then we go to Get. And then it tells you now, okay, so you see a change has been made. Now, from contact, which is the change I made previously, to contact us. All right, same thing again. We commit to main. And then we publish. Now, remember I spoke about branches. I said a branch is a copy of the original code base. If I have a team, if I'm not working, I have a team of 5 people working on this app I am creating for FNB, and I don't want to ruin the code for, the original code base or the original project. I create a branch, which is a copy. I'm going to show you how to create a branch, changes, and then how are we going to merge. All right. Right. So we've committed changes, right? We've committed to main, and then we've also published. If you go back to, we just want to make sure that this change is also visible here, that now we've changed. Okay, it tells you again an update has been made 1 minute ago on the index.html. So you check now, it's back to contact us. I know it seems a bit difficult, but once you start practicing it, it'll definitely be easy. All right, so the changes also are visible here. So I am happy. If there are no changes, you don't see any changes that are being made here, it means you need to go back to Git and see which step you might have missed. First time you're going to miss a few steps, it's okay. Just breathe. Don't panic. But make sure that whatever changes you make on the app, on the desktop app, you're able to see on the browser as well. All right. Let us go back to Git now to create a branch from the original code base. So you see here, on current branch, we only have one, which is the main branch. So now we want to create a new branch. So we'll just type new, we'll just click on new branch. So it tells you now, your new branch will be based on your currently checked out branch, which is main. Main is the default branch for your repository, which says main is the original code base. So now we're just creating a branch. So I'll say branch 1. Please, it can be anything that you want. So I say branch 1, and then I do create branch. I'm going to click on create branch. Once it's done, again, it tells you there are no uncommitted changes in this repo. Here are some friendly suggestions for what to do next. Publish your branch. The current branch, which is branch 1, hasn't been published to the remote yet. By publishing it to GitHub, you can share, open a pull request, and collaborate with others. Because I have not published it yet, it means my other team members cannot have access to it. So publish. Any changes you make, you commit, you publish. All right. So we're waiting for this to publish. All right. So it tells you now, preview the pull request from your current branch. The current branch 1 is already published to GitHub, so it's already there on GitHub, right? Preview the changes this pull request will have before proposing your changes. So we just want to see what's happening here. If you want to preview, you can click here. If you want to create a pull request, propose any changes, you can click here. Now, because it says the branch has been is also visible on GitHub, we need to confirm and check. So we're going to go back to our browser. And we're just going to double check. All right. So if you look here under my e-commerce store, there's main, right? There's main. And then it tells you there's 2 branches. Okay. So we've got the main branch, which was created 6 minutes ago. And then we've got branch 1, active and active branch, which has been created 3 minutes ago. So your other team members have constant updates on what's going on at the back end. They can see, oh, a branch has been created when, so your team is able to collaborate and check. So now let's make a change on our branches. We're going to make a change on the branch that we've just created, which is branch 1. Okay. And then we're going to see, undo, and then change, undo, history, publish, save. And then once we're done, I'm going to show you how to merge the branch to the main. So I am happy here because the branch is updated on GitHub. I'm going to go back to Git now. All right, so let's go here under the current branch, right? So if I click here, let's click on main. Let's click on the main file, the main code base. You see, there are no local changes here, 0 changes, and here's the history. Now we are going to be working on the branch. So if it tells you here there are no changes, main is up to date with all commits from branch 1 because we haven't made any changes here. So let's go back to our file, our workspace. Let's go to kingplatter.html. So I'm going to open this. Right. All right. So I'm going to make a change here. Let's see. Okay. So I'm going to remove about us to more info. I'm just going to type more information. All right. So here on line 19, it was a about us page. Now I removed about us and then I put more information. Right. So I'm going to save this. I'm going to click on Control Save, or you can just click on File, Save. Let's go to Git. Remember, we are working on branch 1. We're not working on the main or the master code base. How do I know that? If I look at here, the current branch, it tells you I'm working under branch 1. All right. So now it tells you the changes have been made on kingplatter.html. Line 19 was changed. What was changed? You can see that Noel Tando has made a change to about us, from about us to more information. All right. Okay. So I need to make sure that this change is visible to my other team members. How? I need to commit, publish, and then it will be visible on GitHub so that my other team members who are collaborating with me are able to see the changes that have been made on branch 1. So the first thing I do is, the description is already there for you. You just click on Commit Changes. Commit to branch 1. Same thing here. It tells you have one local commit waiting to be pushed to GitHub. Sorry, and then I click on push origin. All right, whatever changes now have been made to branch 1 on Git, it needs to be visible on GitHub under branch 1, not on main. So we are going to confirm that. All right, so we're going to go back. And then it tells you here, branch 1 had recent pushes 2 minutes ago. Okay, so what we're going to do now, if you look at here, this is the main branch, and remember on the main branch we made changes to the index.html file. To branch 1 we made changes to King Platter. Now on the main branch, you don't see, it was supposed to say update. It's not here because we didn't make the changes to the main code base. We made changes to branch 1. So I'm just going to click here, or you can just click here on compare and pull request, right? And then we're going to say, you're going to click on view all branches. And then it tells you, here's branch 1. All right. Okay, so it shows, if you see here on kingplatter.html, now it tells you update kingplatter.html. You see that a change has been made. Let's click on the link, and then it tells you what changes has been made. So you see, it's so easy for your teams or for people who are collaborating on one project to see the instant updates that are happening. So you see line 19, red means previously, green means current. So, now it's set to more information. Now we're going to go back. So you can also click here on compare and pull requests. It tells you here an update to kingplatter.html has been made. All right. And then if you want to add a description or here's nothing to preview. If you want to make a pull request, you write your description here and then you create a pull request. If you scroll down, here are the changes that have been made. So we are going to undo that change, we're going to go back to VS Code, which is Visual Studio Code, right? Or let's not make any changes. Now, we've done the pull request. The other team members are happy. We've got like a heads up, we can go. So the team is done working on the branch, on the app. You guys are happy, it's sorted out. Now, you want to merge, right? You're merging the branch or branches, if you have multiple branches, into the main or master code base. So that, remember we said the reason why we're creating these branches is that we don't cause any chaos to the original code base. Now, I want to merge these 3 or 2 or 5 or 1 branch that I've created back into the main code base. How do I do that? So here under current branch, you're just going to click on that. So if you look down here, it says choose a branch to merge into branch 1 because we clicked on branch 1. Now let's click on main. All right. And then now it says choose a branch to merge into main. So which branch we're going to click? If you're working on 4 branches, start with the first one. If you're done, you're happy, you merge. Branch 2, you merge. 3, 4, until you guys are happy and the app has been created or the project has been completed. So now I am going to choose branch 1 to merge into the main. Sorry. So I'm just going to go back here. And then I'm going to click here, choose a branch. And then which branch am I merging into main? I'm merging branch 1. So it tells you this will merge 1 commit from which commit that from about us to more information. If maybe there was 5, it will tell 5 commits because it's changes that have been saved. So it tells you now this will merge 1 commit from branch 1 into main. Your team is happy. We are done. Now we're going to create a merge commit. And then it tells you now successfully merge branch 1 into main. Now remember, after we're done committing, we publish so that it is also visible on GitHub. So you click on, it says you have 1 local commit waiting to be pushed to GitHub. So you click push origin. All right, we have merged our branch into the main code base. So let's go. Remember, we confirm on GitHub it's visible because whatever we do here, it needs to be visible to the other team members collaborating on the same project as you. So let's go back. All right, let's go to the top. And then let's go back. Okay, so it tells you now this branch is up to date with the main, which simply says branch 1 has been merged with the main. So you can see here, let's click on the main, which is the default browser. Remember, before on main, before we hadn't merged branch 1 into main, we didn't see any updates from King Platter. Now, because we've merged, we are able to see that an update has been made from the index.html file and from the an update has been made on the kingplatter.html file. So now you're able to create a new repository, upload a completed project, even if you are still going to be working on it, but you have already coded an app and now you want to collaborate with other team members. You are able to publish a commit, open a new branch, right? You're able to open a new branch, able to edit under that branch. Now you're also able to merge that branch. Whatever changes you do on Git will automatically be visible on GitHub only if you've committed. Commit means saved changes, and you've published the repository or push to the origin. Version control, you're able to see the changes that have been made, either by myself or other team members that you guys are going to be collaborating with, or changes that you are making. So whatever changes you make on Git will be visible, automatically be visible. So it works hand in hand. Make sure you commit to changes. That's the one step I always forget when I am busy working with GitHub. And also I've noticed with my students as well. So commit to changes, push to origin, publish repository, and changes all will be made. Make sure if you're working with more than 3 people or just more than yourself, if you have people collaborating, make sure you create branches so that it doesn't affect. If you created the app and you want to invite, more creatives like you, create branches so that people can edit, make changes on that. If you guys are happy, you merge into the main or master code base. All right, so we have come to the end of the lesson. By now, you guys should know how to create a new repository. But first, you guys have already created a GitHub account. You already have a project that you are working on. Now you are able to create a new repository on GitHub. You're able to upload. Even if you don't upload, you just open Git. Git creates a file for you on your desktop app under your folders. You are able to create a branch. You are able to do version control, the undo and doing of changes. You are able to commit and publish your repository, which is push to origin. My advice to you, if you are working on a project on your own, just follow the simple steps I did. If you are working with a team more than yourself, maybe you have 2 or 3 people collaborating on your project, make sure you create a branch so that it doesn't affect the original code base. I hope you guys enjoyed this lesson. I think as mentioned that I was also, new to this. I never thought there's something like this where people can collaborate, So there's more to learn. There's more to learn. So stick with us. There's more exciting things to learn with us. But overall, I wish you guys all the best. And my advice coming from a person that deals with students and has been a student at IT Varsity, or let's say an online learning institution, I know the frustrations. I know you guys have already, you've started coding and you guys are already giving your reviews. We're seeing that you guys are so excited. Stick until the end of the program. Stay with us. As you can see, we've already got you guys covered. So make sure that you attend the full 9 weeks. A reminder to join all live lessons and make sure that you guys are logging in, are accessing the course, support, post a discussion or a topic on the forums. We are here as IT Varsity to support you. Your fellow peers are also here to support you as well. All right, I'm going to leave you with my favorite quote. Nothing is impossible. The word itself says, I am possible. All right, goodbye.
All right, so that's it for today's lesson with Noluthando. Thank you so much, Noluthando, for giving us that beautiful lesson with GitHub and collaboration. I am your host, Karabo Mohole. This is the FNB App Academy, the perfect place to get you guys started on building that winning app of yours. See you guys next time. Please do remain active on social media. Don't forget to hashtag FNB Academy. You guys can win some awesome prizes. Peace.